welcome everybody. So lovely to see you all. Oh my goodness me. It is Monday, the 7th of June. It is 10:30 in the morning here in London, a beautiful sunny day. It is 7:30 in Sydney, and welcome. This is the official launch of Beneath the Smiling Moustache by our beloved Belinda, Lara Robinson. Hello, Shirley. You just popped up on my screen there. Now, for those of you that don't know me, maybe we haven't met before, my name is Mark Pickett, and Belinda asked me a couple of years ago to be project manager to get this book published. It's a job I never wanted to do. I was hoping that she would be able to do it herself, but as you know, it was her dying wish on this planet to get this book published, and she put all her energy into finishing her manuscript before she left us around about a year and 4 months ago. She spent much of her adult life actually working on this book, and I remember whenever I saw her, I'd always say to her, "Have you finished that bloody book yet?" And she'd always come back with a nice response about what she'd been working on and where she was up to, with a bit of a smile on her face. So it was a great story, and the book is an amazing story. But part of what we're going to do today is introduce you to the people behind the book, another story, if you like, of family, of friends, of former work colleagues who all came together to make this book happen. And it's testament to everybody who's been involved that it actually has happened. So you're going to meet the team behind the book. You're also going to meet some key industry people as well that were involved in the book in terms of book design, the amazing Paul who's joined us today. We've also got publication guru as well, George, who's joining us hopefully from Istanbul. And in terms of editing, Michelle was an amazing editor, who's very, very similar in many respects to Belinda, who is between public transport at the moment in Italy. So we're hoping Michelle can join us a little bit later on as well. But for those of you who don't know the story of Beneath the Smiling Moustache, I've actually asked one of my former TV wives, Rosie Netterfield. Are you there, Rosie? I think I saw you earlier on. She's there. God bless her. She's giving us a wave. Hi, Rosie. Well, Rosie there she is. Hello, my darling. I know you're on the lookout for another husband now, aren't you?
Yes, I am. I really feel like I've lost my on-screen husband. I feel dejected and rejected.
Sadly, we're now getting a divorce now. I'm living in England and she's in Australia, but never mind. We had fun working together. Rosie has recorded a little synopsis for you. So I'm going to just quickly share my screen once again and let Rosie tell you a little bit more about Beneath the Smiling Moustache. Here we go.
Beneath the Smiling Moustache by Belinda Lara Robinson. Love and catastrophe in Istanbul. How I was swept off my feet by a Turkish doctor and a 10-ton bus. When 22-year-old Belinda Robinson travels to Turkey in 1990 as part of a backpacking trip through Europe, she's looking for an exciting adventure steeped in culture and history. What she doesn't expect is an avalanche of catastrophes that threaten to dramatically derail her plans. After a harrowing and traumatic accident with a bus in Istanbul, she finds herself alone in a foreign country, abandoned by a heartless Australian government. This poignant story of courage, resilience, and accidental love is a journey of surprise as Belinda encounters a procession of compassionate Turkish people in the most bizarre situations. Beneath the Smiling Moustache is a comical, inspiring, true story of humanity at its best, offering a unique insight into the challenges of travelling alone as a young woman at a time of rising tensions in the Middle East. Beneath the Smiling Moustache is now available in paperback from any Amazon website and as an ebook from most online bookstores, including Apple Books.
Thank you, Rosie. Great job. So that is the story that we have in Beneath the Smiling Moustache. And of course, it was all put together by an incredible project team. And of course, Belinda ensured that each team member had all the information they needed to at least get started in terms of the editing process and everything else to do with publishing a book. And this is my folder, which, by the way, is in transit, Belinda. Sorry, it's halfway between Australia and the UK at the minute, packed up on a ship on its way over. But in there was all the detailed information that she'd taken the time. I remember sitting down with her in a cafe one day, and she went painstakingly through all the information she'd written for us in that folder, which was invaluable when it came to publishing the book. Now, the first person I want to introduce you to is Di Hickey. Before we get to the book and so on, I know that you first met Belinda at News Limited, didn't you? And I think we've got a picture here. Tell us about this.
Yes, that's one of the conferences we went to. Yeah, there were two, from when Belinda first started at News Limited, I was there, and then she left to go overseas, and we emailed backwards and forwards. And then when she came back, came back to News, and I was still there. And so I was there for her 2 stints. So got to know her quite well.
Yeah, I know. You guys became great friends, and she loved your cooking as well, Di, didn't she?
Yes, especially the Greek food.
Yes, the Greek food and
the chocolate cake. Yeah.
Here's another one where you guys are at Bulleye Cafe, I think.
That's right, yes. A few of us from News, ex-News employees, went down to catch up with her and give her a bit of moral support during her fight.
She loved that. She absolutely loved that, yeah. And she loved going out for the Greek food as well, didn't she?
Yes, she did. I often used to take her lunch, and I took her some cheese and spinach triangles and all that sort of thing, and Greek salad, hummus, whatever. You know, she loved it all.
And this is a picture from Belinda's birthday party in Wollongong.
That's correct, yes. Everyone seemed to have a really good time that day.
Well, I can tell you
that Belinda with her pina coladas.
That's right. And after everyone had left that day, Di, I think there was myself and Scott and Susan left, and there was literally one slice of your cake left on the table, and Belinda just looked and said, "Ooh, is there a piece of cake left?" So I went and took it over for her. So she had the very last piece that day.
Oh, that's good.
Lovely to hear. Let's talk a little bit about your contribution here, because a massive job you had to do before we could even do anything to do with editing was formatting. Yeah, tell us about that.
Yeah, well, from when Belinda gave me one of those folders as well with everything in it, and the day she called in, Steve came in with the book, and she was in the car, but she said afterwards she's sorry she couldn't come in, but she was too upset, and I can understand that, and I was pretty upset at the time when Steve gave me the book, the folder. Anyway, I put it down, and I thought, how could I face going through this, knowing what she was going through? But then I had this idea that I thought, if I start formatting it now, she could see that it's on its way. Yeah. So after I formatted, 20 or 30 chapters or something, I emailed it through to her so she could see that the book was on its way. It only small steps, but she could see that the journey for the book has started. Yes. And I thought that would mean a lot to her, because I know it meant a lot to me to be able to do that.
It was great, Di. It was a weight off her mind to know that we were on the road to get it published, and that she'd left it in good hands. So, a massive job you did there. And also a big thank you to you for organising all the attendees for our launch day as well.
It's okay. Technology is not my forte, but I managed to work through it.
Not mine either, but I think we're getting there today. We're not doing too badly. So thanks so much to Di. And of course, once the manuscript had been formatted and was in some sort of shape to be put towards an editor, that was the next step. Now, it was Lou Johnson, who was publishing director at Murdoch Books, suggested that we contact Kit Carstairs. In fact, it was Kit Carstairs who has an agency in Sydney, and she got us on to the editor, Michelle. I'm just going to share my screen again. Now, I don't know if Michelle is with us or not with us. I just wanted to share with you a quote that I received the other day from Kit, who was so helpful to the whole process. She says, "It's been a pleasure to watch Belinda's friends and family rally round to get this book done for her. It's no small task, and you should all feel proud of what you've achieved for her. I wish this book every success so that others get to journey with a person who seems to have captured the hearts and minds of so many. All the very best from Kit. So that was lovely. This is Michelle. I just thought I'd show you a picture of Michelle. I had my first meeting with Michelle on the 15th of April. And Belinda, again, was quite specific about what she wanted from an editor. She said, oh, make sure you get some examples of her work, which Kit did. She sent me some examples of Michelle's work. Does she have memoir writing experience? Yes, she does. Does she have a sense of humor? That was really important for Belinda, that whoever was going to be editing the book maintained her voice and maintained a sense of humor. And Michelle definitely did that. And Michelle also was an Aussie, similar kind of age, well-traveled as well, who was currently based in Italy, actually in lockdown, and her parents were living there as well. And when she read the synopsis and read the first few chapters, she definitely felt that connection with Belinda. So we were very lucky to have Michelle work on the book for us. And one other thing as well that I should say is that Michelle had already edited books from other deceased authors. So she had that sensitivity to handle this project, which is really, really important as well. But a lot of people say, well, what is involved in the actual editing process? What do people, what does an editor actually do? Well, the first thing that they do is they do what we call a structural edit. That's the first thing. So it's kind of the big picture, making sure that the sequence of events happens in the right order, and we haven't kind of double backed on ourselves, and the story progresses as it should do, and is anything kind of cluttering up the story progressing. I think there's a huge scene inside a carpet shop that got cut because it kind of didn't progress the story, but we had to reduce the number of words down. And Belinda wrote around about 130,000 words originally, but she knew it needed to be between about 80 and 100,000 to be, a reasonable size for a book. In the end, we were just over 100,000. So Michelle got it down to a good length. Once that structure had been done, the book came back to myself and Rhonda, and we read it again for the second time because we'd already read it. And then Michelle went ahead and did what she calls the copy edit, which is all the detailed word by word, line by line, going through absolutely everything. Is it the best use of words? Is it the best use of grammar? Correcting any spelling mistakes? Obviously, there may still be typos in there. I think we've got most of them, but if ever you see one, let us know and we can fix it. And again, at the end of that process, Rhonda and I read the book again. And then there was the final copy edit and proofread. So just going through all the final finessing. And again, we read the book again. So both Rhonda and I have read the book 4 times, but you know what? I keep finding more in it every time I read it. So that whole process took around about 7 months altogether. Of course, one thing Belinda wanted to do is ensure that the editor must retain her voice and a sense of humor, as I mentioned. And of course, well, she certainly did that. While that was going on, we also decided that we needed to build a website. And that was primarily because we wanted to find a publisher, and the website will be there initially to help us find a publisher. And the very person who did that, another one of my TV wives, actually, Kari, are you with us?
Yes, I am, Mark. Hi.
Great to see you. Let me tell you, Kari is a woman of many talents. She is an expert in digital strategy, web design, and digital marketing, as well as many other things. And she's been on telly with me more than once or twice, haven't you, darling?
I certainly have. I always have a good time on television with you, Mark.
We do, don't we? Sorry, Rosie. But
Yeah.
I have a good time with Rosie as well, and of course everyone else that I've worked with. We always have a good time. But Kari has created some fantastic websites. And again, a woman of similar age that really I felt would connect with Belinda and her story as well. So I'm going to show Kari. I'm just going to quickly show a quick grab of your beautiful website.
Okay.
1 second, managing all the technology here.
Look at you go.
Here we go. There's Kari, and here comes oh, hang on. This is the first meeting. That was with Rhonda and with Lydia as well, who came up with some great content ideas. I don't know when was that? Was that in May sometime last year? I think it was, wasn't it?
That's correct. It was.
All right. Well, here comes your final design. So tell us about what inspired your design.
Well, I think the fact that you shared a lot about Belinda. I didn't actually know Belinda personally, but I got to read one of the first scripts, and I kind of fell in love with her story, and I wanted to show just the way that I just wanted to show a website that would take you on a journey, and so that the user would actually fall in love with not only Belinda, but, you know, her whole story. So, yeah. And you shared a lot of images and things like that, and that really brought to home for me how we could make this a journey, not just about her, but about her journey, her history, and also to showcase the team and the editor and that part of it as well, because I think that's really important for people to know, you know, not only about her story and her journey, which is absolutely fabulous. I loved reading it, and I'm going to buy the final book now that you've edited it. But I wanted them to have that journey of it. So when you go on the website, you'll notice that there's a few interactions on the website. So yeah.
I was going to ask you how important were her photographs, because you mentioned her photographs at the beginning there, and here's one, of course, with George Michael in the carpet shop.
I mean, the photos were amazing because it really brought home her words and the whole story, and how, I think I really sort of related to Belinda in a lot of ways, because I've travelled quite extensively, as you know, in my modelling years, and for her to go on that journey was really fabulous and quite scary for a woman in a country that doesn't really speak English, and being alone, and just the wonderful people that helped her on that journey as well. I really loved it.
I think you all did. I think everyone who was involved had some sort of parallels with Belinda, didn't they? And you know, I'm really honestly thinking of divine intervention here. Honestly, I think she chose the team, not me. But Kari, just to finish up, there was one other team member, of course, who also helped on the website. Do you remember?
That you did?
No, apart from me.
Oh, Tristan, yes. Tristan came to all of our meetings and was in love with Mark, I have to say, and he did. There he is.
You want to tell
her? But
also about the present that he left me in my flat?
He did. He left you a little care package, didn't he?
He did.
But also with the website, I wanted to make sure that I used the colours that Belinda loved, because she really was specific on her colour choice, and I wanted to make sure that any web design on the website reflected the journey.
We're just
her journey, her personal story.
We're just losing a bit there, Kari, but thank you so much.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Thank you for your website. And we now need to put a link up so people can buy the book. But thanks a lot, Kari. Great to talk to you.
Pleasure.
The next person that I want to speak to is our Paul. Here he is, one of the few males who were involved in this book, apart from me. And before I even come to Paul, I just wanted to read you what it says in Paul's bio on Reedsy. Bright, loud, attention-grabbing covers, bold cartoon style, ideal for Amazon thumbnails, humor, kids, travel, non-fiction, entertainment. Kind of sums it all up, doesn't it? In what we ended up with, which is brilliant. Now, just to fill everybody in, Paul, we had a meeting on the 7th of March. By the end of April, you had designed the front cover, the back cover, the spine, illustrated a map for the forward, created 6-part illustrations. And if that wasn't enough, you designed 28 chapter icons. And by the way, he also wrote the subtitle for the book as well. So we kept you busy, didn't we?
With a baby, and I have a baby.
Oh, and a baby, that's right.
I didn't realize you had so many wives.
Oh, yes. Oh, no, I've got wives that spring up all over the place. This is just your concept design for the cover here. So I've just got a few little grabs for you to talk me through if you can. Talk me through the actual cover design.
Yeah, well, we originally started off thinking about this as a kind of travel book, and therefore kind of imagined, this sort of stock imagery of Istanbul in the background and a woman at a window and so on. The more of the book I read, the more I realized, first of all, how good it is. I mean, I was really kind of, in a way, taken aback by how good it was. And that it's kind of really a much bigger story and touches on so many more topics, especially this kind of topic of being a solo female traveler, especially in the early 90s and especially in the Middle East. And of course, so many of those topics are still with us and still going on now that I kind of felt like it really had a classic. There's a classic story in this thing that's very relevant, even though it was, experienced long ago and then written also long ago. And so then you also wanted to keep the humor and the lightness and not to be kind of bogged down in what seems from a subtitle a very tragic story of, being hit by a bus,
Yes.
2 days of your holiday. It doesn't sound like a charming tale. And so then we just kind of started thinking more about what would be a really, a classic looking cover and moving away from just, localizing it to Istanbul. So then we kept the little accents of the Turkish language in the title to hint at Turkey and Istanbul, but not to be really hitting it on the nose. And then, of course, just by sketching around, I just happened to find this nice symmetry of the two eyes and the nose, and then the mustache of the title. And then from there, really, it was just a case of bringing it all together and finding a way that it would work and bringing in some nice bright colors. And I was really pleased with the way it turned out. And
the feedback's been awesome, Paul. As you know, people love it. I'm just going to quickly take you to the back cover now, because this was also perfect. The design you came up. I know we talked about the elements we might want on there, like the backpack, and the journal and that kind of stuff. But what you actually came up with, I think I told you at the time. I know Scott's with us. And Scott told me when I showed him this concept that actually he'd taken a photograph of Belinda in exactly that pose, doing exactly that thing. I think when they were on holiday in Morocco or somewhere. So it's a bit kind of crazy that you've done this. It's beautiful. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it was also nice to kind of have the opportunity to draw on the back as well, and then really to sort of do a second cover.
Yes.
So it was nice that there was kind of the budget available and the ambition to do that. And so I'm really pleased that we kind of got to have this whole nice spread and to include some more ideas on it.
When I actually got to get the first physical copy of the book, I was so pleased with what I had in my hand. Like the whole concept from beginning to end, like the whole book is tied together beautifully with all the chapter icons and everything that you did. And then I've got the part icons, actually, the part drawings to show everybody. Can you talk to me about what you were thinking here in terms of concept for these different parts?
Yeah, it's just that the book is divided into, I think it was 5 parts, was it, or maybe 6?
6, yeah.
And then we had this idea of having icons to do with Istanbul throughout the book. Istanbul was also somewhere I traveled, so that was kind of another way I connected with this story and really enjoyed reading what I read. And then it was kind of trying to tie together these icons on each chapter heading with the style of the front cover as well. And so obviously this front cover has the kind of words embedded in a face or a body part. And so then I thought, well, it's so much about her broken legs that somehow it should be that we should have the other body parts somehow included in this. And of course, there's also some more intimate scenes. And so then that became a part of it as well. Yeah. And then the chapter of her calling home and calling her mother. And so again, it was kind of like a sort of a continuation of the cover theme, and then just trying to get the whole book to be tied together, sort of a graphical concept that would run through the book. And again, that's not something that maybe a lot of people who self-publish have the budget or the desire to do. And so again, it was like a really lovely project to be involved with and to really kind of give it a visual identity to match the cohesiveness of the story.
It was brilliant. And one thing Belinda wanted in the foreword was a map so that the reader could then connect Athens to Istanbul to Cairo, which are the 3 places that she referenced in the book. And of course, that proximity to Iraq. And I know we talked about putting tanks and Scud missiles and things on, but that didn't kind of work, did it?
Yeah, well, we originally had this idea of kind of, these kind of almost like I guess almost like sort of pirate maps where they have symbols representing certain stuff. And we had a thought about, you know, maybe having tanks on the Kuwaiti border and a little oil rig and so on and so on. But the more sketches that I did, somehow it just started to look more and more cluttered. And in the end, we just decided to sort of keep it fairly simple, keep it in the same graphical style, and then to really just represent the sort of the main hubs where the story takes place, and, you know, tie it in together so people could see the sort of geographic proximity of the Mediterranean.
It was perfect, and it sits perfectly in the book. And the order of events that I know we kind of switched a few things around in the book that you came up with, Paul, is now perfect as well. So the end product is brilliant. And there it is. There's the back cover, the spine, and the front cover. Even, can I just point out that little icon down at the bottom there? That's the publisher icon, isn't it?
Yeah. Again, it's, I really just wanted, I really like it when there's the self-published book looks exactly like a published book. And this, of course, was for me, the icon that summed up the story was the broken leg. So
Paul, just to let everybody know, you are a best-selling published author yourself. You know, you've written a book called The Bloody British. So if you want to check out Paul's work, available on Amazon as well, of course, you can do that. But Paul, I honestly think you've done a brilliant job. I know Belinda will be thrilled with everything that you've done. So thank you so much on behalf of Belinda and the team.
It was a real pleasure. I'm happy that you're all happy.
Oh, we're happy. Okay. I'm mindful of time, so I want to kind of keep going through. And I want to check in now with George. George, are you with us in Istanbul?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh, there you are.
Hello.
Hello. Now, just before I come to George, I also want to acknowledge Glyn Christian in London. Glyn has published many books over the years in terms of food and cookery and ingredients, and the story of Fletcher Christian and the bounty and so on and so forth. And it was in a meeting with Glyn prior to me talking to George that persuaded me that self-publishing and Amazon was definitely the way to go. And Glyn was really helpful. So I then must also acknowledge Vanessa Stubbs, who introduced me to George. I think it was Belinda Guthrie who introduced me to Vanessa Stubbs. So, George, you're kind of like a friend of a friend of a friend that I got to talk to.
Yep.
And you became my publishing guru. And to let everyone know, you are also a published author yourself, aren't you?
I am. I write rom-coms, so that's my main stock in trade. But this project was pretty amazing to become a part of, and it was just when Vanessa Stubbs contacted me and said, look, I've got a friend who has this amazingly unique situation. Do you want to have a chat to him? And I talked to you, Mark, and it's been a roller coaster, and it's been fantastic to see how much of an adventure it's been. Yeah.
Just to put this into perspective, when I had my first meeting with George, and it, by the way, is a little bit spooky that you're called George. And of course, we know Belinda's love of George Michael. So I'm just going to put that out there as well. And the fact that you are in Istanbul as well, and a published author, you know, divine intervention again. When we first spoke, I had about an hour's chat with George, and she talked to me about so many things that I would need to do in order to get this thing published, which seemed to me to be about 12 months to 2 years worth of work. And I said, no, George, we need to publish it this year and soon. So tell everyone what do you think to the time frame in which we've got Belinda's book published, which is basically 14 months.
This was epic. I remember you were telling me when I talked to you, I was mapping out in my mind, okay, we've got to set everything up. It's going to take about 6 months to a year, maybe more, to build up publicity, to format, to get everything in all the stores, to contact bookshops. And Mark said, no, it's going to be in the next month or so. and we made it happen. You made it happen.
It
was amazing how hard I did it.
George gave me she said, okay, Mark, this week you are going to do this, and this. And okay, tick, 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 tick. I've done that. Okay, what's next? So George literally guided me to literally which boxes to tick on the Amazon website and Kindle Direct Publishing. Do I tick this one or do I tick that one? What do I do about US tax? I mean, it's like everything, George. It was brilliant.
Yeah, it was an absolute joy. The minute I read the book when you sent it to me, it was just so much fun to be a part of this. And yeah, being over here in Istanbul right now and being able to see all the places that Belinda wrote about.
Yeah.
So I'd just be walking down through Perovalu and I'm like, oh yeah, that was that scene I read yesterday. It's pretty amazing to be a part of this. Yeah.
Do you think that self-publication then was the best option for Belinda?
Oh, 100%, 100%. Because in indie publishing, as you've been able to retain her voice. You've been able to put it out how she would have wanted to. I mean, the design we just saw on this book. Oh my goodness! I don't think I've seen a book that looked so gorgeous and that ended up being so fit for the story.
Yeah.
So that's an absolute credit there. I think it's if she'd gone through traditional publishing, if you'd done that, you probably would have had to make a lot of compromises that would have diluted Belinda's story. So I think this is really special how you've done this.
Awesome. Do you think that we should do an audiobook?
An audiobook? Oh, that'd be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah, and I think this book especially would suit itself to hearing it spoken, because it's written like someone's sitting there having a glass of wine.
Yeah.
You're having a good time on the balcony somewhere and someone's just telling you all of their stories. So definitely, I really do.
I think the plan is maybe let's just, get some marketing and publicity happening, but maybe early next year we'll look at the audiobook. I think that was on my list originally. Yeah, no, don't do this yet. Let's just get everything else done.
Yeah, it was. I think I said, don't even touch that yet. You've got all of this to do. But
I did,
when you get to it.
I did. And one more quick question for you, George. How can Belinda's readers help spread the word now so it gets out to a wider readership, do you think?
Oh, there's a few really key things Belinda's readers can do. One of the first recommendations, anyone in Australia right now, get yourself to your local library and request that they get this book in. That would be a biggie. I would also say just tell your friends. And tell friends who would like travel books, because I'm getting a bit technical here, but it's all about an algorithm. It's all about people who like travel books buying other travel books and then it turning up in the also bought on Amazon for other travel stories. So if you know anyone who loves travel stories, anyone who loves a good biography or autobiography, tell them about it and just say, hey, why not give this a go? Because that will really get the word out there right now.
And then finally, what about reviews? How important are reviews that people leave for us?
Extremely important. Reviews, anyone who's listening to this who's an author would just be yes. Reviews are the most important thing ever. The best places you can leave reviews are Amazon's a really powerful place, but if you read on iTunes, especially in Australia, iTunes is a huge, iBooks is one of the biggest mediums in Australia. There, and Goodreads, get thee to Goodreads and leave a review there as well. And even if you only leave one word, even if you only leave, great. That's more than enough to help things along.
George, that is brilliant. Your advice is just unbelievable. George is going to continue to work with us down the track now we are published and to help us with the marketing side and stuff. So look forward to chatting soon, George.
Lovely. It's been wonderful.
Oh, thank you. We are going to come to the moment now. We are about to cut the virtual ribbon. So Rhonda, who's celebrating with her friends with a glass of champagne and strawberries in Lancashire, are you with us?
I'm here. Yes, Mark.
Oh, good. Hello, ladies. Are you enjoying your champagne and strawberries?
I just had to unmute. Sorry.
That's okay. We've actually gone through the whole thing so far without saying you're on mute. So we've done pretty well, haven't we?
You've done fabulous. Well done so far.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I'm just going to share my screen once more. And as you can see, Rhonda, we have the book wrapped up in that beautiful blue ribbon.
Oh.
So I'm going to pass it over to you now to officially launch the book.
Okay, thank you, Mark. Okay, I can't believe it. 14 months in the making and we've finally arrived. Okay, so well done, team. Okay, Belinda will be so pleased that her last wish has actually come true. Been absolutely amazing. Okay, over the last 15 months, the team have reconnected with Belinda through her words. We've worked together to ensure that her story was told in her style. 30 years in their writing, many countries travelled, lots of new adventures had been had. Memories, loads of happy memories of faraway travels. Beneath the smiling moustache oozes lots of emotion. It paints a true picture of Belinda and reminds us of the type of person that she was. It is a true reflection of her life. It is her story. It gives me great pleasure to virtually launch Belinda's book, Beneath the Smiling Moustache. So well done, Mark. Go for it.
And let's cut that virtual ribbon. Are you ready? Listen to this. That's the story. Thank you so much, Rhonda. And I know we've got some lovely pictures to share with everybody as well, haven't we, that you sent to me. So I'm just going to get you to talk through these. Oh, Christine, are you joining us from the US? I don't know if Christine's joining us. I know you sent me this picture, Rhonda, just to show the book reaching far and wide beyond Australia and the UK, which is awesome.
Yes, no, it was a fabulous picture. I thought you would appreciate it. So she was dead chuffed when I let her know that this book had finally made the shelves, and she ordered it straight away. So I thought, what a fantastic picture to share with everybody. So it's just amazing. I think it just sums it up how far the words of a book, a story, can travel, to the corners of the globe.
Absolutely.
So perfect.
Yeah, and thank you for sending the picture. I think we should start collecting pictures now of the book in the various places around the world.
Yeah, definitely.
Here's a lovely one, though, of your son, isn't it, with Belinda?
It is. It's a lovely one. It's my son Adam, Belinda's nephew. His first journey, long haul to Australia, just before he was 1 year of age. This is a good memory because this is a picture on the ferry going towards Manly, and it reminds me of the time when we were on the beach on Manly, and Belinda had Adam positioned between her legs, sitting in the sand, and she grabbed hold of his hands to stop him actually putting the sand in his mouth. Well, needless to say, that didn't stop Adam, because he took a head dive into the sand and basically ate the sand. She was mortified. Everybody around her was laughing at her because she tried so hard to stop him eating it. He just thought, do you know what, I'm going to go for it. And he put his head in the sand and actually ate it. So it's a good memory. It's a lovely photo as well.
It looks like she's some sort of 80s pop star with the wind in her hair there, doesn't it? A bit of Bonnie Tyler or something.
Yeah. Oh, gosh, definitely.
And this lovely one at the beach.
Yeah, this was taken down at, was it Akandra, where she was from, in Wollongong. So with her niece there, Hannah, who was 2.5 at the time, and that. So happy moments on the beach where just having fun. So so it's another good memory of her and my 2 children. Yeah.
That's wonderful, Rhonda. Is there anything else that you wanted to say today, or are you're okay now?
No, I think just a huge thanks to everybody. I mean, obviously you've steered the ship. Okay, pardon the pun there, Mark. Okay,
yes.
Getting the book to where it is. But there's loads of people behind the scenes, and all the input from friends and family as well, which have really supported getting the book to where it is today. Yeah. And obviously the journey's not over, because we're still continuing, and lots of work to still be had. But we're just so pleased in general that the book's looking absolutely fabulous. It's absolutely perfect. We just need to just continue. Yeah.
And Rhonda's been a great sounding board for me as well. If ever I've had any questions, I'm not quite sure what to do about something, I just ring Rhonda and go, okay, this is going on. What do you reckon?
I think everybody's bounced off each other, and we've all agreed or disagreed, or agreed to disagree, and then we've just moved on. So we've not had any major hurdles, Mark. So it's very good. It's been excellent. So the team work has been amazing. So it's been great.
Thank you so much, Rhonda. Thank you, ladies in Wigan. Enjoy your champagne and your strawberries.
Okay, we'll do.
I look forward to a drink later.
Yeah.
Now, Susan Howell, where are you, Susan? Susan is our finance manager.
Yes, I am here.
You are here. Now, I know you sent me a load of picky, Susan, as well.
Yeah.
Should we get straight to your pictures? I think we should do that, shouldn't we? Because you've known Belinda for many, many years.
Yes.
And not only are you finance manager, you were best friend, neighbour. I didn't think you were neighbours.
Yes.
Travelling companion and school buddy.
Yes. Yes. Belinda and I have known each other since we were probably 14. We were being friends, and we weren't neighbours all the time, but probably the last 2 years of high school, I lived across the road from Belinda. So I got to hear a lot that was happening in her house.
So you were wild teenagers together.
Yes,
Oh, God,
exactly. We would. I had my license, and we'd all meet up and or jump into one car, and it was great at the end of the night because all I had to do was pull up in my driveway, and she'd just stagger across the road and fall into bed.
Oh God.
So yeah. So this photo here is the eve of my wedding, and Belinda was one of my brides of honour. So she flew up to Coffs Harbour, and I picked her up, and we had a wonderful night, as you do before you get married, and brought a big bottle of Dom Perignon, and we drank and had a wonderful time. And
Awesome.
I was going through my photos last night and picking the best that I could, as Mark said, try and get something to tell a story.
Look at this.
This one here is probably the beginning of Belinda's travels. This is when we were fresh out of school. We're about 18, and what we're actually holding up in the picture is a boat cruise that we were organising to go on. So we went to the travel agent, and we picked the cruise that we were going to go on, and we found one of those photo booths that you do the 3 photos together, and we held up our brochures, and we sat there smiling and got our photos taken. But alas, it never happened. We actually completely changed, and we went to England, and then we went to America, and Rhonda came. And so that trip then developed into that, didn't it, Rhonda?
Wow.
And we did Disneyland and did all those sorts of things. So that's probably the first bite of Belinda's travelling journey was that. So you look back, and this is another night. This is the Sydney Olympics in 2000. And we were down at Darling Harbour, and we were going through the shops, and her and I found this funny hat shop, and we got in there and started trying on all the hats, and I thought it pretty much summed up Belinda's joy of life.
Yeah.
That was enough fun. We were just there being idiots and having fun and doing what we do. And this is another time we went to New Zealand, and we did it different. We basically hired a car that ran on balloons. They weren't even tyres. It was a little Corolla or something, and we just travelled our way, staying at the youth hostels through New Zealand, and we had the best time. We got to I forget the name of the town, but it was on the South Island, and it was a what do you call it? It was like a mining town. It was really, really funny. So Belinda had told her work that there was an emergency, and she had to go to see her sister, right? So the whole way we're going around through New Zealand, she's trying to take photos so she can prove to her work that she was in Scotland. So as soon as we got to Rotorua and those places where there was all the steam, and she's going, this looks like mist. So she's jumping in front of this. She said, take photos of me. And then she would we went to Dunedin where the castles were. She's going, take photos of me at the castles. Anyway, we went to this town, and it was New Year's Eve, and we started going there, and we went to this pub, and in come a band with all these kilts, and they were looking very, very Scottish. She's going, take the photos, take the photos. Well, she jumped up and got in front of all of this band, and basically the whole pub knew everybody that was in the pub. So they just stopped and stared at us. And we felt very, very odd, being sticking out like sore fingers. So we sort of only stayed up and did that on New Year's Eve till about 9 o'clock, and we went back to where we were staying. And Belinda said, of all the places we end up for New Year's Eve, this would have to have been probably the worst. We felt very awkward. We were home back in our room by 9 o'clock. So from that moment on till the day she passed, every time we had a drink, we would say Happy New Year, because we worked out any drink anywhere would have had to be better than that night that we had on New Year's Eve. So that was our motto for the rest of our drinking lives. It was very, very funny. So
great story, Susan. Great story.
Yes, so that's the story to Belinda. Oh, and we had a fantastic day. We went out on the glaciers, and it was pretty much summed up, Belinda and I, we were, I said to my husband, in probably 35 years, Belinda and I never, ever had a quarrel. We never had a bad word. And there's not many people in your life that you can actually travel with and have a good time. There's only special certain people that like what you like and do what you do. And I thought that picture summed it up, us two buddies, adventuring like we do.
Wonderful.
So, yeah. And this here, oh my goodness, we were still in school. And my brother said to us, you're more than welcome to come. We're going to a fancy dress. And Belinda and I got our outfits together, and we didn't even have a car. We had no license. We had to catch the train, and we caught it all the way into Bankstown to the town hall at Bankstown, where there was the fancy dress was on, and we were going with a big group of people. There was about 10 of us. And we got there, and it was so funny because it actually got it all wrong. It was actually a German dress-up night. So we were dressed as nuns and spiders. But in the end, German night, so there was plenty of spirits there, and we were up on the tables, up on the chairs, cheering and clapping the German dancers and having a wonderful night. And, that pretty much summed up everything. No matter what happened in life, Belinda always found the silver lining on it. It's just she was just a beautiful, happy person.
And there's your last one with Scott as well.
Yeah. And that pretty much says it all.
Susan, thank you so much. And for those that don't know, Susan's working really hard behind the scenes, doing all the finance, which is no mean feat when you've got a book that's published all around the world in multiple currencies. And Susan continues to work on and do that. So thank you, Susan, again, for all of your hard work and for making this happen as well from a finance point of view.
No worries. Glad to be a part of it all.
Oh, now, of course, there is somebody else that I want to come to now. And in fact, this person I'm going to introduce you now was the person who introduced me to Belinda more than 20 years ago. And it's Scott. And when Scott said to me, you want to meet my friend Belinda, he said, but I want to warn you. I said, oh, why? He said, well, whenever you meet her, there's always a story. There's always a drama. Well, we know that now, don't we? And I do remember that from the first time I met Belinda. And I think she even mentioned the accident with the bus then. So welcome to Scott and to Pat, who's joining us from Sydney as well. Welcome, Scotty.
Hello, everyone. Am I muted?
Go ahead, Scotty.
Good. Hi, everyone. It's quite amazing to sit here and watch all of you talk. It's hard for me. I haven't dealt with this yet, so please excuse me.
I've got some pictures to show if you'd like, Scotty.
Thanks. That would help, Mark.
I've got a couple of pictures that I picked out because Scott, Belinda, and I went on holiday together. And Scott was Belinda's next door neighbour and has probably known Belinda longer than anybody else apart from Rhonda and her mum and dad. And this is from Penang 2008. We had a great time, didn't we?
We did. That's a funny picture because that night we went back to the hotel in Penang, Mark, and we went upstairs. And, I was staying in the room with Belinda.
Yeah.
And we looked out of the window because we were whinging again, similar to Susan's story. Oh, where's the nightlife? Admittedly, we're in a Muslim country and admittedly it was a bit reserved, but Belinda looked out the window and she looked down onto the beach, and I remember saying, why didn't Mark tell me that there was a party on the beach? Look at all these people. And we were laughing in the room. It was very funny that night.
And then this was New Year's Eve. Do you remember the party then? Like the band?
Yeah, and yes, we went there and we're hoping for a great night of wildness, but again, Muslim country, and it was a bit reserved. But we make the most of things. We would find ourselves in so many different situations over the years in all the countries that I've travelled with her in, and we would always find something that would give us a laugh, because all of you have discussed her sense of humour. She was very pedantic, and I noted that in all of everyone that spoke. Belinda wanted it a certain way. Belinda wanted it. Oh, yeah. Going out with Belinda, you would have to allow at least 2.5 hours to get ready. You would have to allow that if you wanted to get somewhere at 12, you'd have to start mentally preparing yourself about 7, because Belinda was very particular. And I can imagine her telling and handing out all of the orders to everyone about the colour and what sort of editor she wanted and the book cover and everything else. I can imagine this because that is the type of person she was. She always followed it up with a laugh. When we did find ourselves in difficult situations, Belinda was quite often the tough one, believe me. She would talk her way out of things. She would be quite stern with people. I haven't read the book yet. I can't bring myself to do it yet. But if there's any stories that I would part with everyone, was in 1992, she dragged me to, we went to Thailand first, and that's a whole other story where I was absolutely traumatized by an elephant and crap. And anyway, we got out of that by the skin of our teeth. And she dragged me back to Istanbul, where it all happened. She wanted to show me the hospital. She wanted to show me where the bus hit her. She wanted to show me the people that she met. She wanted to show me a lot of things that were going on in Istanbul. And I don't know what she's called the doctor. I can't remember, but I know it's not his real name. But she wanted me to meet him. And don't
worry, Scotty. I've got one more picture for you to talk about because you were there, and I know you.
The point I wanted to make, sorry, Mark. The point I wanted to make, I'd never seen anyone so in love.
Right. Okay.
There we go.
Oh, wonderful. There was a time you talked about her getting out of things, but she also got herself into things, like this meeting with George Michael.
Right. Well, that year, she'd met George Michael a few times. That year we were lucky enough, I was heavily involved with the gay scene in Sydney, and I was fortunate enough to be invited to big events, and this being one of them. We were invited to the Oxford Hotel as part of a magazine, and we'd heard rumours that George was in the building, and sure enough, Belinda, with Jason, another friend of ours, decided to take it upon themselves to go up the back entrance of the Oxford to the roof terrace where they'd heard that George Michael and a few other celebrities were Well, she went up there, and sure enough, he was up there smoking with his friends, and he has a lot of Australian friends, sorry. And she went straight up to him and she said, how are you enjoying Sydney? And then she said, can I get a picture? And of course he was, having a smoke and just wanted to chill out. But he was so gracious and so lovely to her. He just said, of course you can. But she had met him a number of times. And Susan will tell you the story of when they were at the Siebel townhouse and her stealing his towel or trying to give his back his towel or whatever she was trying to do. But this situation, she was not supposed to go up there, but she found the back way up that hotel to find him and meet him. As it turned out, the next night we went to his concert, or a couple of nights later, it was around 3-day period. We were in the front row and he came down the stage, and after meeting her, he stopped, and I've got the video footage, and he looked at her and he smiled at us both, and it made our entire Mardi Gras period.
That's
but that is Belinda. She will not take no for an answer. And I'm sure that Susan, her mum and dad, and Rhonda will absolutely back me up on this. No was never an option. I've heard about, like, this book started for me in 1991, where she came back from Turkey, and then, as I said, she dragged me back there because she wanted to be factually correct about what she was saying. Yeah. She didn't want to miss a minute about when the Gulf War was going on. She didn't want to get the street name wrong where she got hit. She wanted to show me the blood-stained sheets that she had to lay in while she was getting treated by the doctor. Thanks, Mark.
Exactly. Scotty, thank you so much. Love to Pat as well. And just wrapping up, just thanks so much to everyone who's joined in today, whether you're listening in or you've been joining in with us as well. It's great to know you're all there, all around the world. It's great to know that this book is now published and you can go ahead and order your copy. And I know Belinda would like you to share this video, share the links as much as you can, so we now get the book out to a wider audience, and her legacy is then read by a wider audience all around the world. So thanks so much for joining us today. It's been an honor and a privilege to work on this book. I can't believe that we've done it, but we have. Belinda, we've done it for you, my darling. It's here, it's available, it's out there in paperback, in ebook, and go ahead and order your copy and enjoy. It is a brilliant read. It's a great story that has been put together by the team. So I'm just going to share my final slide now and say thank you very much for being with us today. Enjoy your day wherever you are around the world. I can see I have a little chat thing. Hang on, what do I do with this? Oh, thank you. That's a lovely story there from Nikki, to Scotty, for your story. Thank you so much. But again, thanks everyone for joining us. Here is the final look at what we've been talking about today. There we go. So enjoy your day wherever you're joining us around the world, and thanks for being with us today.